Hello everybody, my name is Michael, and welcome to the final episode of my playthrough of Dark Souls 2. I really had a lot of fun here. I'm right outside the final boss room. I'm just going to put the King's Ring on before I head in there. And I've had a lot of fun doing this playthrough because it's just such a fantastic game, but not nearly as good as Dark Souls 1 or Demon Souls, but I still enjoyed it quite a bit. I still got a lot of enjoyment out of playing this game. And I'm glad to have gone through it like this, to just talk about it. It really helped me, find my feelings about the game, because I've been a little bit annoyed at it and worried about it, and really my opinion of it was lowering after I did a playthrough of Dark Souls 1 and Demon Souls after, spending hundreds of hours or something playing this game over the months. And my opinion of it sort of lessened. But after having played through it like this, I'm a lot happier and a lot more comfortable with the game than I was before. Now, let us talk to the Emerald Herald.
My journey is already complete. My name is Shanalot. The dragon gave me this name, for I was born with none. I was born of dragons, contrived by men, by ones who would cozen fate herself. They are the ones who created me. But they failed. I did not come out as intended. Fate would not be bested, and men were cursed once again. If you proceed, Nashandra will come after you, knowing that you will take the throne and link the fire. She covets the first flame and the great soul. Put Nashandra to rest.
It was apparently contrived by men who were trying to do something. I'm not sure what they mean by cousin fate herself. Maybe to take charge of fate and learn how to break the undead curse? Is that what she's talking about? And who were the men that created her? I got the impression, based on all of his weird concoctions, that it was the king's brother, Uldia, the scholar of the first sin. But we don't really get to know that exactly. I mean, I think that's probably what was going on, but anyway, let's head down here. Really, the story in Demon Souls gets amazing at the end, and the last few moments with the Emerald, with the Maiden in Black, are incredible. And the last few moments, just the last area in Dark Souls, is incredible. But in this game, it kind of stays lame from beginning to end. It doesn't. I was kind of hoping for so long that it was going to get great at the end, but it never did. Well, let's head down here. This does look kind of cool, but the fact that it's not really dark is annoying. The fact that you can just see everywhere, it's kind of pathetic. I think it would look a lot better if the darkness was a little more pitch black down here. But anyway, we're about to go with the final boss fight of the game against Nashandra. And all of the boss fights in all three of the Souls games are actually pretty underwhelming. The final boss fight in Demon Souls actually doesn't really exist, in a way. It's not quite a boss fight, it's just you're sort of putting this hideous creature out of its misery, and you can't really lose at it, or at least I've never lost at it. However, it's got a magnificent lore feel to it, so it works very well. And in Dark Souls 1, Gwyn was notoriously simple if you knew how to parry, which most people at that point in the game did. And I guess he could be a little challenging if you deliberately decided not to parry, but especially if you use spells, it was very easy. But if you... he was pretty straightforward in all ways. Let's take a look here. We can get Head of Vengarl and Benhart to come in here. So if you had trouble with Benhart's quest earlier, you can get him to come in right here. We are going to go fight Nashandra, who is very similar to Alana. Is it Alana? Alana the Squalid Queen. And, well, it's just not a very difficult boss fight. I mean, it's not super duper easy exactly. You do want to bring in some human effigies, because she can curse you significantly, as you will see. But all in all, not that difficult. Kind of a cool intro,
Brave undead, you have proven yourself to me. Now, be one with the dog.
Right away, our first move is to cast little sort of puffs of curse around it. I mean, I don't know what to call them, puffs. They look like little clouds. And if you walk over here, you have to sort of attack them and knock them away, or else you'll constantly be getting cursed during this. And you just have to make sure to take care of all of these before you continue the fight. Or else you, and I don't know if Benhart and Vengarl get cursed. She's a fairly simple boss. Her attacks are pretty slow. She doesn't have incredible damage like Alana does, although she's damaging Benhart and Vengarl pretty significantly there. She does have an AoE attack. I mean, that attack is actually fairly tough, that scythe she has there called the Scythe of Want. But it's pretty easy to avoid it, especially if you practice. This is the laser. That can do quite a bit of damage, but again, pretty easy to avoid. She can recast those little curse clouds. I don't know exactly. Oh no, shit. Fuck. That's the, yeah. I was not paying attention because I was commentating. And that was the AoE. These guys are so useless, even in their more upgraded forms, they can't really survive. If you fight her straight after fighting the, what is it called? Getting distracted here. If you fight her right after fighting Throne Watcher Defender, you get a unique, almost got hit there, intro to her. And when she moves, she's sort of made of bone, kind of, but she sounds sort of squishy. It's kind of gross. Not really scary, mind, but definitely icky. I really had to hammer on that button to get that Estus flask going. Uh-oh, laser. I thought that laser kind of followed you a little bit more than that. She seemed to kind of miss me there. You obviously can fall off the edge, by the way, so you gotta watch out for that as you're doing this fight. But, she's not especially difficult. Now, the next guy, Oldia, he is difficult, and I'm not great at that fight, so we'll have to see how things go. Although maybe I'll die at this, I don't know. The closer you are to danger, the farther you are from harm. I decided to get up close to Nashandra there, rather than back away. And, go back to healing. Now the next fight is going to be with Oldia.
Many monarchs have come and gone. One drowned in poison, another succumbed to flame. Still another slumbers in a realm of ice. Not one of them stood here, as you do now. You, conqueror of adversities. Give us your answer.
And Oldia's fight, I think, is fairly challenging, because you only have a few moments to kind of run in and hit him while he hits you with these columns of flame. And it's actually pretty darn challenging. Oh, I think I only had one hit there. I really shouldn't have gone for that second one. That was a little too dangerous. Okay. And I have switched over to Havel's shield just in case the fire gets me. I don't want it to be... It looked kind of dangerous. I think I got hurt before by standing like in the lava ring kind of around him. No, I didn't really have any chance there. Yay! I could have gone. I probably could have gotten a second attack there, but decided not to bother. Boy, this is gonna hurt. These are balls of flame, but oh, I think I had a chance to hit him here, but I missed it. Darn. That was good. I thought it was gonna be multiple balls, but maybe that's later on. I've only fought this guy. Well, I fought him multiple times because he killed me a couple of times, but you see that follows you as you go around, so you can't really just avoid the initial one because it sort of comes after you. Darn it, did a lot of damage. Oh. Aldia, by the way, is not sort of a blob of I guess, pillars or tree things. He's actually sort of the head and shoulders of a person. Oh, I got hurt there, not him. Because I was, No! I missed my chance to attack. I was healing. Pretty sure even if I have my shield up, that stuff can still hit me. That second hit didn't do anything. I shouldn't have even bothered with it. Running out of Estus. That's no good. Ooh, I got the hit there. Nice. So, it's not exactly hard to damage him, but finding the right place to go in is pretty tough. There we go. I've been very, very lucky. It originally took me a number of tries to defeat him when I was doing this the first time, which as it should be with a Souls game. Boy, not gonna like this. Oh, and I don't get a chance to hit. That's no good. That's no fun. You get one heavy attack in, which is pretty good. I don't know if adding Aldia... I mean, I guess you can play all three bosses, Throne Watcher, Defender, Nashandra, and Aldia, you know, in a row. So that's kind of cool that you can do 3 boss fights in a row. That's kind of neat. Oh no, yeah, multiple orbs. Ooh, okay. It only did a little bit of damage, but I'm worried that I might, the shield might have been knocked out of the way if I got hit by multiple ones. That would have been very, very bad. Alrighty. No chance to hit him. Okay. Alright, I'll bide my time. Oh, darn it. That attack is very, very dangerous. I kind of don't even know why I have the shield up. It's not... It wouldn't do anything, really. I do like they kind of bait you to get closer to him, even though you know it's dangerous. That's kind of a clever thing to do. I like that. Getting close. Getting close, Aldia. You dick. This is kind of like in the Ava fight, where you have to kind of keep moving. No! Oh, there's more of them! Fuck! Oh, I'm dead. I'm dead. Fuck.
I lost everything, but remained here, patiently. The throne will certainly receive you. But the question remains. What do you want? Tell me. Light, dark, or something else entirely? There's no path. Beyond the scheme of light, beyond the reach of dawn. What could possibly await us?
So that was Dark Souls 2. And some of you may be asking, what the hell just happened? Well, the normal ending that you're supposed to get before Scholar of the First Sin is to go inside of that strange stone... I don't know what you want to call it, some kind of weird... It's almost like Patrick's house from from SpongeBob, this big sort of semicircle that you can enclose yourself around. And it is... that ending where you ascend to the throne, you find out at that point that the Emerald Herald is your queen, and she is a queen of dark, just as Alana and Nashandra are, and except she's your queen. However, she seems very different from the other queens. Well, you know, we got some contradictory information. Obviously, she levels us up, so she makes us stronger, so she doesn't seem that evil exactly. And she doesn't indicate a desire to do anything evil. Not that I remember. However, we do get some troubling things said about her by our crazy murderer friend in Oldia's Keep, but whether he's right or not, who knows. And that ending was changed significantly with Scholar of the First Sin, because in this ending, what you can do now is decide to abandon going to the throne and walk out of the room. Something that was, and this is based a lot, I think, you have to know a lot about the ending to Dark Souls 1 in order to do that, which I'm going to spoil for you now if you haven't played it. Just to remind you, in that game, you had to choose whether to relight the first flame, that is to continue the age of light that had been going on, the age of the gods, in a sense, or to reject that, and instead of continuing what the gods wanted, to go out into the world, to leave the flame and start the age of darkness, the age of humanity. In this game, it really, really hurts that idea, because it suggests that in the Souls series, there is no choice, and both leading to choosing dark and choosing light, you get the same outcome. Darkness will always be resparked into a flame, and flame will always die out and turn to the dark. So there's really no point to you doing any of this, really. Although, in Dark Souls 1, I have to stress that the two endings, though different, you're kind of screwed either way. You can't really win in Dark Souls 1, because if you choose to continue the Age of Light, you're sacrificing your life. So you end your undead curse, but you do have to die and consume and continue what the gods wanted, which is not really, we're led to believe that's not what humanity wants, or maybe even should want. And if you choose to ignore that and go for the path of the Dark Soul, you're still used by all of the weird snake guys, the primordial serpents. They are in on this either way. And they, you're doing their bidding, whatever it is that they want, whatever ending you get. You can't really choose a good ending or not. You're kind of screwed either way. I'm not crazy about the ending of this game. I think it was done pretty... how should I phrase it? It matched the rest of the story, which means it was kind of poor. I've heard the Dark Souls 2 being described as fan fiction next to Dark Souls 1, which is kind of a funny way to put it. It's just not really designed as skillfully with this. You have to walk this knife's edge by giving you information but withdrawing it so you don't know the whole picture that you get in Dark Souls 1. In Dark Souls 2, you really don't get that. And in the other Souls games, the ending was really, really fantastic in 1 and Demon Souls. In this game, it kind of is pretty poor. So yeah, that was the ending. Now I'm going to give you my overrun of my thoughts about the series in general, just an overview. First, let's talk about the combat changes. I've mentioned this before, but this is a sum up of my feelings about it. The combat changes were terrible between 1 and 2. Your character feels lighter, floatier, and he doesn't have that kind of weight. He doesn't move as slowly and painstakingly as he does in the first game, which I don't like. They've changed backstabs to make them kind of useless, and I really don't like the backstabs in this game. They were done perfectly in the first one. They've changed parrying so badly that I virtually never even parry in this game. It's just so terribly broken. They've changed even shields. Yes, even shields have been changed so strongly that it barely even feels like the first game. The shields just feel so weak. I hated that. I hate the guard breaking. I hate the fact that you can't really sit there and tank away with a shield as much as you could in the first game. The spells, I suppose, have been made a little bit better because they're kind of faster. However, that just exacerbates the problem with the spells being overpowered. I hate to say this, but the Souls games did not do magic right. Dragon's Dogma did magic right. This game, absolutely not. It made it even easier to spam spells. Even though it made some sense that you should be able to make it a little bit faster, they still really didn't get magic in a satisfactory way, I think, in really any of the games. A lot of the combat was just worse between this one and Dark Souls 1, although I wasn't crazy about the combat in Demon Souls either. And this is probably better than Demon Souls. They took so many steps down from Dark Souls 1. The story, obviously, as I mentioned many times, is not nearly where it was in the other games, and it's very unfortunate. Excuse me, the level design was terrible. It felt more like a Final Fantasy XIII, go to point A, from point A to point B, straight line kind of affair, instead of the strange, circuitous, always going around and around, unlocking shortcuts kind of feel in Demon Souls and Dark Souls. I mean, just look at one section of Demon Souls, the Tower of Latria Part 2. That section is so huge and complicated and actually dark. I mean, it feels like it should have been Dark Souls 2 that was like this, that was actually dark like that is, but it's so complex. And you can wander around all of those levels and still get lost in them every time. It's difficult to make a game where you can get lost in the world, but it's very, very hard for you to get lost again and again and again, no matter how many times you play it. And they did that with this game, and it was very, very well done in Demon Souls and Dark Souls 1. Maybe even better, a little bit, the level design in Demon Souls next to Dark Souls in some ways. In that you can... I'm still confused by the level design in Demon Souls, even though I've only played it for about a year now. It's still confusing and weird, and I still get lost here and there, but it's still very well done. The bosses were obviously a huge letdown compared to Dark Souls and Demon Souls. The bosses were mostly big, armored guys. There was not a lot of variety, and what little there was too little too late for me. Even some of the bosses and level design in the DLC, where they changed a bit, was still not good enough compared to the original games. All in all, this game, even though I sunk hundreds of hours into it over the past year, and I did enjoy it, was really a big letdown, and it was so unfortunate that they made this game. You know, they went from such heights of Olympian glory, you know, like that they went so far down here. And it kills me that I can't skip through this credit sequence. It kills me. It is stabbing me in the heart and murdering me. But anyway, I do enjoy the fact that you can... In this game, it's been criticized that you actually have to go back to Majula before you can continue on to the next section. However, I actually like that. I think that's a good idea. I think that's a worthwhile decision. Let's talk to her over here. Now that we're done with this, she will sell an unlimited amount of Titanite chunks, so I think this is fantastic. I have gone through a lot of crap in Dark Souls 1 and Demon Souls, where I've been trying to, like, prepare for my next playthrough, and part of doing that is finding the weapon you want and leveling it up, just like with your armor. But it's hard to do because you don't know exactly when everything's going to end. You want to sort of come back here and sit and relax and get things finished up. It's nice that they did this in Dark Souls 2, and I've heard, even though I have not played Bloodborne, that you actually only get one Titanite slab equivalent in Bloodborne. Just one in the entire game. It's like freaking Demon Souls all over again. Why would they do that? That's so stupid. So, one thing that they did do right with this game was the crafting. They made it brilliant. However, it might be a little bit too easy. You know, it's a little bit too simplistic to get all of the things you need. You may need to pull it back a little bit, but I do like that you can get all of the stuff that you want at the end of the game before preparing for your next playthrough. That's very, very nice. Charging. Very nice. It's really such a step back in this game. I try to think maybe if Miyazaki had been a part of it. David Lynch is in the news right now because he just said he was pulling out of the new Twin Peaks series he wanted to do, which is really sad. I hope that changes, but it kind of makes me feel that this series, that it feels like the Twin Peaks episodes after Lynch withdrew his involvement with the original series and was only sort of mildly involved. You know, like maybe if he had been there it would have been great, but instead it became sort of mediocre after a while, and that was very upsetting. So, I mean, what else can I say? Overall, compared to the vast majority of crap on the market, and I think that a lot of the video game industry is complete garbage now, and the games are way, way too easy, so simplistic. Recently, with the Games for Gold thing, I played both the new Tomb Raider and Bioshock Infinite, and I was deeply disappointed in both of those games. I thought they were both pretty crummy. So compared to most crap out there nowadays, Dark Souls 2 is still a high-level masterpiece, but unfortunately, it is not as amazing as Dark Souls 1 and Demon Souls 1. I really enjoyed doing this playthrough. I loved going through the game. I loved showing all the things that I wanted to show everybody, because I wanted to do this for a long time now. And I know it seems so strange to do this a year after the game came out, and finishing it after, a little bit after a year after the game came out. It's like a year and a month now, I think. But it wasn't just that. I really wanted to go through the game myself and work out my feelings for it. I really, really enjoyed all of that. And it was just fantastic. It was so fun to go through this game and show everything. I know I must have made a bunch of mistakes. I know I must have omitted so much stuff. I started out this series saying I was going to go through every single person's dialogue and listen to it, but that became kind of agonizing. I'm sorry, guys. It just became kind of like, ugh. I can't sit here and listen to this pretty crummy dialogue all the time. And you'll notice, by the way, that after jumping off of there, I am still human, and I do not have a ring of sacrifice on. The reason I'm still human is that is what the king's crown does, and I wanted to just show that. I don't think I showed that before. The Scholar of the First Sin, if you're thinking about this being some sort of fix to the game where they finally changed it and made it so much better, no, of course it isn't. They would have had to fundamentally change things from the very beginning to make it better, totally redesign the levels, probably redesign generally the story, and they weren't going to do that. So I knew that wasn't what this was going to be, and they weren't even willing to fix the basic stuff like adding poise back into the game and maybe making the backstabs and the parrying a little more normal. But unfortunately, the game is what it is. It's better than most. It's certainly, I certainly don't regret playing it. It's not like I hated it. I loved playing it. I really enjoyed it. It's just, this game will be known as the lesser son of the other games in the series. So, I think after many, many hours and many, many, many episodes, I'm going to praise the sun and say, have a good night, everybody.